All right. So, welcome. We're really excited. Scott and I have been talking a lot about how to structure these meditation sessions. Oh, we got Andrea coming in here. And really how, it's all about support, right? Like what kind of support can we offer? How can we offer more support, deeper support? And so welcome, Andrea. So glad you made it. So we've decided to structure the Meditation Mondays a little bit differently, and we're going to start with today's meditation. So the first Monday of every month, it's going to be specific for beginners. Everyone's welcome. Like, meditation, it's a journey. So whether people are super experienced with meditation or whether they're like brand spanking new, like this is our, my very first meditation in my life, like everybody is welcome. But the way we're going to structure the beginner meditation is just very basics, right? So we want to always have a discussion at the beginning, so that everybody, we're on the same page. And we also want to know, where, what's your experience with meditation, or do you have any questions on meditations, or what's really your struggle with meditation, or what are you hoping to get out of the meditation? So we want to start with kind of a little bit of a discussion, but just kind of like meditation 101. Like I was like, maybe we should call it meditation 101, but just the basics. And really, because the style of meditation that Scott takes us through is, very traditional, like yogic style meditation. And there's so much information about like all the different types of meditation, but we want to really focus on what works and what is going to help people, really see and feel a transformation with their journey, and to give them the right information too, because there is a lot of information out there, and we want to keep it as true, as we possibly can. And if you don't know Scott, so this is Scott. I don't know if you've met, I know you've met Richard and Andrea, but maybe not April officially. And so Scott is a meditation guide, but also a certified yoga instructor. So anytime I have any questions on that nature, I go right to Scott. So I'm not going to be the one to do any of this from here. I'm just here to kind of introduce everyone, and then I hand it over to Scott. So I'm going to do that, and hand it over to you, Scott.
Excellent, thank you. So, yeah, as Kim was saying, I'm a certified yoga instructor, and I learned my yoga through a very, uh, well, I'll just put it this way. The head instructor for Ananda Yoga is a man named Murli Venturakal, who he learned yoga in India at the age of 8. And he said what drew him to this particular institute is the adherence to the historic way of doing yoga. That most yoga institutes in America are kind of doing their own thing, but this is a very, I don't want to say legitimate, but a very historical way of doing yoga, the way it's been taught for 5,000 years. And yoga is very unique in the fact that it's the only tradition of any sort of activity that we can definitively say has been done continuously for 5,000 years. There was no dark age where people stopped doing it, then picked it up again later. It was just every single day for the last 5,000 years, somebody did yoga. So, meditation in traditional yoga, the yoga of Patanjali, who is a man who wrote the Yoga Sutras. People debate how long ago it was, and I guess it's irrelevant, but a long time ago, we'll just say. And in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, it's also known as Ashtanga Yoga, eight-limbed yoga. It's an all-encompassing yoga, and meditation is one of the limbs of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Yoga, in its essence, just means union. So it's where the English word yoke comes from. So like to when you put a yoke on a couple oxen to carry a cart or whatnot, it's the same actual word. And it just means union, meaning union with the divine. So there's all here in America, we predominantly practice hatha yoga, which is the physical postures or the asanas. And when we think of yoga, that's all we think of. We just think of, oh, doing postures and poses, but that's just one of the 8 limbs of actual yoga. So basically, what Patanjali says is that we do yoga because the inherent state of the body is the inherent state of all things in the universe. There's the universal law of conservation of energy. And that means inherently everything in the universe, if it doesn't have to move, it's not going to move. It's just makes sense. You don't want to exert energy if you don't have to, so to speak. So the physical asanas or hatha yoga is designed to counter that inherent state. So it takes a body that wants to be at rest all the time and makes it move. While now our minds are the exact opposite. Our minds really from a um ancient, from basically, from caveman, our minds were developed to be used. Obviously, it's like our advantageous component in the entire ecosystem. The thing that sets us apart from other animals is our minds, that we can adapt to our surroundings and predict dangers before they happen. And really, it's our evolutionary superpower, so to speak, that we can think. So that being what it is, the mind doesn't want to stop. It wants to be used. It wants to flex its muscle, so to speak, and constantly, what's next? What's next? What's the next worry? What's the next, wisdom? What's the next anything? It's just going, 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 going. Like the Buddha said, it's the monkey mind constantly swinging from limb to limb, thought to thought, just going, 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 going. It just never stops. So yoga meditation in the Ashtanga Yoga Sutras modality is designed to counter that. So it takes a body that doesn't want to move and makes it move, and it takes a mind that doesn't want to stop and makes it stop. So when you can do both of those things, it pretty much brings everything into a state of equilibrium. And that has numerous benefits. People get into doing meditation and yoga for all kinds of reasons. People do it in the corporate world to increase their dividends. They do it, on the stock markets to try to, be a more advantageous trader. And, the list of reasons for doing meditation and or yoga are countless. People come into it for all kinds of reasons. But I'll say the I'll say this. So the most advantageous reason for doing yoga, or one of the most visceral mm, byproducts of doing yoga and meditation, is that equilibrium. That when you bring your body into this holistic state of equilibrium, everything just kind of takes care of itself. Like my teacher is actually a doctor, and he's done a number of, amongst many other doctors, has done a number of studies and um, all kinds of experiments and whatnot with yoga and its effects on the human body. And the interesting thing is, like every kind of medicine you can take, he has all kinds of fancy doctoral words that he throws in there. So I'm like struggling to try to remember them. But basically, they all effectively adjust something. So, if you have low insulin, you'll take a medication and it'll raise your insulin. If you have low dopamines, you take a medication and it'll raise your dopamines, or whatever your ailment may be. And yoga is very unique in the fact that it actually balances everything out automatically. So it's it's kind of a cure-all, so to speak. Not kind of, it's literally a cure-all that he's found his particular uh, field of study was on diabetes. And he found that it had profound effects on diabetes. It brought people's insulin levels and everything just perfectly in sync. And it's quite remarkable. But I guess I can kind of start by just saying why I got into meditation. So I started meditating, I'll say over 20 years ago. And for me, I just knew that I was struggling with a restless mind. That of all the issues and all the problems in my life, which we all have many, I'm sure we could each and every one of us can make a laundry list of our problems in our lives. For me, the one that stood out the most predominant thing that I felt was holding me back in life was that monkey mind, was that restlessness that just kind of go, 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 and often in avenues and on subjects that had no relevancy to anything to do with anything, and it quite honestly got me into a lot of trouble in life. And it finally got to a point where, I stumbled across, at the time I was getting into Buddhism, and stumbled across meditation, and saw all the scientific evidence backing up how the effects on the mind and this, and like, why not? I'll give it a shot. And I feel blessed that I almost immediately had major impacts on my life. It's but then it kind of became like a, what do they call it, the law of diminishing returns. Like, I was so deep in the red that it immediately had huge benefits for me. But then over the years, it kind of mellowed out, and I just kind of went into this gray zone for a while. And then in these last, 3 or 4 years, it's kind of gone on the upswing again, where I've kind of just made some, relatively large breakthroughs for me that again just kind of revitalized me and made me realize the power of this, and how it may take a really long time to really like see massive benefits in your life, but everybody's different. Like, just because it took me 20 years doesn't mean it'll take anybody else 20 years, or more or less. It's everybody's on their own independent journey, and everybody's coming from a totally separate place. I honestly had a lot of work to do. So I would say, yeah, I think we all can kind of feel that way. We all have a lot of work to do on ourselves, but trust me, I had a lot. So that being said, I'd like to ask anybody present if they would be willing to kind of just put forth why they want to meditate, or why they do meditate, and or what they hope to gain from meditation.
And you can use the chat, or if you want to be unmuted, just kind of raise your hand because I think I have to unmute you. And you don't have to unmute yourself. I'll start. So for me, it was definitely the monkey mind, because I feel like I did all the other things, like I tried all the other tools and dove deep into, energy work and energy healing, and it just kind of kept coming to the point of meditation. It just kept coming, like everything I researched, everything I studied, it was like meditation, 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 but I avoided it like the plague. So I tried to do everything else but meditation because I couldn't stand to sit in silence. I just couldn't handle my own thoughts and my own thinking. And then the other part of it was not only to learn to quiet the monkey mind, but it was, I knew what was missing in my life was that connection to, my higher self or the divine. And so for me it was like, okay, now I'm ready to finally commit to some level of meditation. And then I just got overwhelmed with all the information on meditation, right? I had to hire a teacher and all the things, and that got me into certain trouble, right? But it's just like, it's just interesting like Scott said, our journeys are so unique and different into why we get into it and what our kind of our goals are. So, anyways, that's my little story. Does anyone else want to share? Richard or Andrea or April? Andrea. Okay, I'll just read Andrea here. I need to slow down the monkey brain. I really want to be able to slow things down and be able to sit in silence. That's very common. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm often reminded of that quote from the Bible where it says, "Be still and know that I am God." You know, it's like no matter what faith you follow, what practice you go down, you know, everybody keeps coming back to the same place. They're like, it's all about stillness. It's all about just slowing down. You know, it's the last thing we want to do, but it's seemingly the most powerful. Yeah, definitely. And then also, Kim's statement kind of reminded me of another interesting tidbit my teacher threw at me one day, and something that's really stuck with me. Is he said, yoga and meditation are very interesting in the fact that, unlike almost anything else that we do in life, that gives you a positive feedback. Like you eat pizza and it tastes delicious, and you just want to eat more pizza, you know, or you go to the movies and you had a great visceral experience, and it, you know, maybe it's a tearjerker, and it just you came out feeling good, and it's like, I want to go back to the movies. When are we going back? You know, or whatever it might be. Yoga and meditation are very unique in the fact that they create such beautiful feelings within us, but we almost always have a resistance to it. Like, it takes so long before you actually crave yoga and or crave meditation. It's like, it doesn't matter what kind of amazing experiences that you have, you come out of your meditation and you feel great and wonderful, and the mind just resists. It just resists and resists and resists, and it just does not want to go back there. It's it's really curious. Yeah, I feel like a lot of that has to do with, you know, the what people call the egoic mind, which, you know, that term has been, I don't like to use it because it means so many different things. You know, there's like the Freudian use of the ego and this, that, this, and you know, it's really just kind of the logic mind. You know, there's many tiers to the ego mind, but you know, it basically wrestles us for control over our lives. You know, the logical part of our brain that's always just thinking and trying to plot and plan and decide, and it gets us into so much trouble because it's like, well, let's think about really disastrous events that might happen just in preparation for it. And it's like 99.9% of those situations never happen. And we just worry ourselves to death for no reason whatsoever, you know? And it's like, I, I feel like that's kind of the part of it. Like the ego mind. Well, that was something Paramahamsa Yogananda said. He said, the ego hates to meditate, the soul loves to meditate. It's really kind of your ego's just battling you for control. It's like, it's like, oh, I felt great after that. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter how great the soul felt when you're done with that meditation, your ego's gonna come back and be like, yeah, but maybe we should just go eat pizza. You know, or you know, let's cruise TikTok for a while. I think that might be a better idea. Let's do that.
I was gonna say, like, and that it's so true. And I mean that and that's the power of group meditations too, is because it's a level of accountability. It's a level of support as well, because we're all like every single one of us, like Scott and I too, you know, like we struggle with the same things. Like we all literally are the same. Right.
Hmm.
And that's why we want to offer more like just more support, more accountability, because this is really what people need. It's one thing when, you know, you have a time and you have a day and you say, I'm going to go. And like other people are, you know, not relying on you, but like it is a level of like, okay, I'm going to show up. Just like if you had a doctor's appointment, right? It's the accountability piece is really important, at least for me. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's the same kind of interesting dynamic with different faiths and religions. You know, they're all very diverse on the surface. You look at any of them and they seem like night and day differences. But when you really get into them and you start looking at like the people at the highest levels that achieve the most esoteric status within their field, they all say the same thing. You know, they all keep coming back to, it's all about oneness. Everything's just one, and we just need to be still, and that's all we need to do. It's like whether you get into the Sufis or the Kabbalah or the Sanatha Dharma, known as Hinduism. They all boil down to the same thing, and we as individuals are kind of that same way. It's like on the surface we're all very dynamically different and we're all coming at this from drastically different avenues, but at the very pinnacle of the mountain for each and every one of us, we're all the same. Yeah, we all need the same things. It's like we all just need to calm down a little bit, take a couple deep breaths, you know, just breathe in the roses here and enjoy life. Be in the here and now, as Ram Dass would say, instead of the future or the past and everything in all of those realms. So yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I think we touched on pretty much everything there. I don't know if anybody has anything to add or any questions, anything whatsoever. Yeah.
If you have any questions or even any obstacles, right? Like what if there's anything that's blocking you or any obstacles or any just any questions in your mind around, meditation, yoga, around that topic or anything like that. Like this really is your space to ask us and you can always ask privately too, just FYI. So you can always reach out to Scott anytime and ask him if you have any specific questions. So
Yeah, I'm more than happy to answer anybody's questions on any of this stuff anytime whatsoever. Not that I'm like some sort of, you know, huge purveyor of knowledge here, but
but like he kind of
but
is. I'm just gonna just throw that
but
in
I
there. Like he really is.
I I can tell you what I know and maybe like point you in a direction where maybe you can find out more.
But he usually knows
But
the answer. Like he's undermining himself. I'm like, "Yeah, you know so much freaking stuff. It's crazy." Oh goodness. All right. Well, let's get into it, I think.
Excellent. Okay. So actually, one last thing I did want to add, and I just remembered it here when Kim was saying the benefits of group meditation. Like there's the accountability, which is a huge thing for us in our busy days and lives, but there's also a more esoteric benefit to group meditation that basically when you meditate in large groups, whether it's through Zoom or in person or whatever that might be, there's a certain like resonant frequency that we're all kind of connecting with. It's Kitty wants to meditate for Andrew there. That's great. The kitty wants to get in this harmonic frequency with us here where we're all resonating together. And it's very like a great analogy is where you see all the metal filings and then a magnet comes across the metal filings and they're all magnetized and then all of a sudden they're all pointing in the same direction. It's like that actually has been scientifically proven to happen. Like I stumble with my scientific verbiage here, but there's a specific term for it where people in groups that spend enough time together, their neurons just kind of align with each other. And I've found this many times with people that there's a course that I take I help them with it every year at the temple, this Raja Yoga course that's based on Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And there's certain people that take it twice a year, every single time. And we spent all this time together meditating and getting into this resonant frequency. And so many times we'll sit and have conversations, and they'll bring up things that just so happens were the exact same thing I was just thinking about, and it'll be something super random, like, like the Big Bang Theory or something like that. It's like, "Oh, did you ever think about how the Big Bang Theory is, like, such a magical process, but then people just quantify it as like, oh, well, of course, like, everything spontaneously erupted out of nothingness." And it's like, "How are you talking to me about this right now? Like, I was literally just thinking about that." And it just happens over and over and over again. So there's a extra energy that comes with that, and yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly, Cam. Eventually, we'll just be able to read each other's minds, and we can just sit here in silence, and it'll all be kosher. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to throw out there. It's like just a little another added benefit to help you, you know, it's not just a literal physical accountability that will help us meditate over time, just accountability to the group, but it's uh, like a resonant frequency as well. Like you kind of get into the same zone as everybody else, and you know, you can kind of draw on other people's strengths, so to speak, and make them your own just by being in the company of others. So many benefits, many benefits. So all right, so we will get into it here. So we want to start off always with um, being in a comfortable seated position. So I'll say this, like it's not mandatory to be in a seated position. It's nothing is mandatory. Like there's people out there who will make you feel bad if you're not sitting cross-legged in siddhasana or the lotus position or and if doing the mudra and all of this stuff, like not necessary. There's energetic benefits to all of those things. So it's not to say that there isn't a benefit in doing things a certain way, but it's not absolutely necessary. There's paraplegics who have had huge benefits from meditation, and they're not able to have a straight spine or do any kind of mudra whatsoever, obviously. So so all of these are just kind of guidelines, but they're not requirements. So in general, you want to have what's called a straight spine, but as we know, the spine isn't straight. And there's always the lumbar curve and the thoracic curve. It kind of has a bit of a S shape to it. But you want to be in that natural position that humans have always been in. Inherently, we are walking creatures. And it said that one of the main causes of disease in our modern society is sitting down because we're just creatures weren't designed to sit down. We were designed to walk. So you'll kind of want to, if you can, you want to have that self-supported spine. Again, just a guideline. Not everybody's going to be able to do this if you're suffering from any kind of back injuries or strains or stress, which is super common in our society. Like you'll find more people that have back injury that don't have back injury by far. So if you need some lumbar support, that's fine. If you need full spinal support, that's fine. If you need to lay down, that's fine. And you'll just try to get as straight of a spine as you possibly can. Now, sitting in a cross-legged fashion, that's how I'm sitting, but again, it's not necessary. The most important thing really is the straight spine. So if you can't sit in a cross-legged position for an extended period of time, don't do it. You're you're better off, doing yoga and getting your hips stretched and, getting into a physical position to where you could sit eventually, if that's what you want to do, if you feel it pertinent for you to sit in these positions, but it's not necessary at all. Like, for example, of Paramahansa Yogananda. I'm not sure if everybody knows who he is, but he was one of the main people who brought yoga to the West back in the 20s, and he lived here for a good chunk of his life. and he wrote the famous autobiography of a yogi. And in his time here in America, he said there was only 3 of his disciples that actually achieved enlightenment. And of those 3, 2 of them never really meditated sitting cross-legged, you know? So that just goes to show you, though there are energetic benefits to it, not necessary at all for enlightenment, not even close. So, again, the main thing is to be comfortable, because the last thing you want while you're in the midst of meditation, a big part of our meditation is detaching from the body, and if your body's screaming at you because your hips are a lot of jank, like, that's not conducive to anything, like, not no bueno, let's not do that. So so find your comfortable seated position. If you're in a chair, like, one of the kind of common rules of thumb is it's beneficial if you're sitting in a chair to have your knees sloped down and away from the hips. So if that means sitting on a cushion, depending on your leg height and the height of your chair, then that'll be the optimal case. If you're sitting in a chair, you don't want your legs too splayed. You don't want to be like sitting with your legs fully splayed. There's certain energetic reasons for that and whatnot. But yeah, so once we found our comfortable seated position, and we will first start off with creating an intention. In both yoga and meditation, one of the most important things, besides the practice itself, I won't even say besides, in conjunction with the practice itself, something that's almost as important as actually even doing the practice is, what is your intention? If you go into yoga with just the intention of getting some stretches and this, that, this, though there's nothing wrong with that, the energy that you'll stir up inside, not having developed or put forth an intention, will really just kind of make you more of what you are. So if for me in particular, I'll use myself as an example, like my go-to crutch whenever I'm feeling down or, a little depressed is food. I go straight to food, like, every time, and so many times in my early yogic adventures, I'd get done with this huge yoga session, and all I could think of at the end of it is, I wonder what fast food restaurants are open right now. I could really go for some cheese sticks. That's my crux right there. I just love those cheese sticks. Gotta get me some cheese sticks. So so yeah, that's kind of what will happen if you don't have some sort of intention. It will just make you more of what you already are. And meditation is extremely similar in that fashion. So we always want to start off our meditation practice with creating a bit of intentionality. So if you're a spiritual person or a person of religion, maybe you want to put in a prayer or something like that, or maybe you just want to speak to your higher self or just speak to your subconscious, whatever resonates well for you. But we'll just take a moment here and a couple of minutes of silence here and just create an inner intention of, like, what do you want to achieve with this meditation? What are you hoping, where are you hoping to go with this? Who do you want to be at the end of this? And we'll do that now. now go into some pranayamas. Prana, Sanskrit word that means energy, life, and breath. It means all of these things all at the same time, for they're all intrinsically connected. Yama means control. Pranayama is the control of our energies, control of our breath, control of our life force. Through this control, we will gain control over our nervous system, therefore gaining control over the senses, making it much easier to meditate without distraction. There are many pranayama, all are mutually beneficial. Today we'll start off doing alternate nostril breath, also known as Nadi Shodhana, cleansing of the nadis. Nadis are energetic bundles or nerve bundles throughout the body. Our largest nadis are the 7 chakras. So, do this practice. There's a couple different things you can do with your hands. One is known as the Vishnu Mudra. So you'll take your right hand, take your first 2 fingers and curl them in towards your palm. And we'll be using the thumb to close the right nostril and the tip of your ring finger close the left. And in between, you'll use both of them to close both nostrils. So in this practice, we start off by inhaling through the left, drawing the energy up the spine for a count of, we'll do a count of 6 today. And then you'll close both nostrils for a count of 6, holding the energy very lightly in the heart. You don't want to have any kind of strain or stress while doing this. And if for any reason you feel panicked or you have a heart condition or for any reason, follow your intuition. If for any reason it doesn't feel good to hold your breath, then don't do it. Just simply move on to the next phase of it, which would be the exhale, where we will exhale out the right nostril. Now, to balance the body, we'll then do the same thing in reverse. So you'll then inhale through the right nostril, hold, exhale through the left, and that's 1 round. And we'll do 3 rounds of this in total. So we'll start off by plugging the right nostril and inhale through the left. And hold, plugging both nostrils, holding the energy lightly in the chest. And exhale out the right. 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale on the right. And hold lightly. And exhale the right. Or the left, I'm sorry. Inhale the left. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Inhale left. Hold. Feel right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. And hands back down onto your knees and breathe normally. The next pranayama, known as the bee breath. So you'll take a nice deep inhale. The timing doesn't matter on this one, as deep as you can take. Full yogic breath, meaning using your diaphragm. So as you inhale, you'll feel your diaphragm flex out as that muscle pulls down and expands the lungs. Nice full lungs. And then as you exhale, with the tongue to the top of your teeth, you'll make basically that B sound. Just that. Inhale again. And we'll do that a few times here. Everybody's breath is going to be slightly different, so it's hard to get a good count, but I guess try to do it about 4 times. And we'll start doing that now. Fully inhale, expanding the lungs and the diaphragm. Mm. Breathe normally once you've finished your 4th round. Hands on the knees, palms upturned in receptivity, open to receive whatever gifts the universe may have for us. Transitioning from pranayama or breath control into breath observance. Just simply watch the breath without trying to control it at all. Try to connect with the feeling of the breath, wherever it may be entering. Try to breathe predominantly through your nose if you can. If your nostrils are clear and allow you to do so, the most energetic way to breathe. Also, many biological benefits and health benefits to breathing solely through the nose. Try to connect with the breath as it enters the nostrils. Try to feel that intensely through the nose. the beginning, we'll feel it mostly at the base of the nose, at the very tip of the nostrils. As time goes on throughout your practice, not necessarily this practice, but the many practices ahead of you throughout your life, you may slowly start to feel the air higher and higher up the nose through the nasal cavity. Getting closer and closer to cerebral cortex, or what's known as the third eye, the sixth chakra. For now, just feel it wherever you can feel it, and attune and feel that breath as deeply as you can, without control, just observing like a scientist. Now we're going to attempt to put our body into a deep state of relaxation, effectively putting the body to sleep while still maintaining the, I don't want to say active mind, but the aware mind, full awareness, sleeping body. So I'll proceed with a count up towards the max of 10, bringing us closer and closer to full relaxation. 1, relax the jaw. Tell your brain, through your brain, tell your jaw, fully relax, fully relax. Brain tells your jaw, fully relax and go to sleep. Now draw your attention to the eyelids. Tell your eyelids to fully relax, fully relax. Your brain tells your eyelids, fully relax, go to sleep. Now bringing your attention to the lips. Tell your lips to fully relax. Every muscle within your lips fully relaxing. 2, bring your attention to your forehead. Telling your forehead, fully relax. All the muscles within your forehead fully relaxing and going to sleep. Bringing your attention to the cheeks. Tell your cheeks, fully relax and go to sleep. Bringing attention now to the scalp. Telling your scalp to fully relax and go to sleep. 3, your attention now to the neck, allowing all the muscles in your neck to fully relax, fully decompress, and go to sleep. Now the eyes themselves, the muscles that control the eye, tell them to go to sleep, fully relax, and go to sleep. Now let this relaxation of the brain or of the full head sink into the brain. All of this relaxation of your head is now seeping into your brain itself, relaxing the brain. Allow your brain to fully, completely relax, sinking deeper, deeper, and deeper. Now let this relaxation from your brain and your head flow into your body. 4. Flow into the feet and the toes. Tell your feet and your toes to fully relax and go to sleep. 5. Your eyes closed, look at your legs and allow this energy of perfect stillness, of relaxation to flow into your legs, telling your legs to go to sleep, fully relax. 6. Now your hips. Tell each hip, fully relax, putting all of that relaxation energy into your hips. 7. Narrow your abdomen and your lower half of your body from the abdomen down to the hips. All of those muscles, all of your intestines, your stomach, every organ in your lower extremities, fully relax, fully relax. 8. Look with closed eyes at your chest. Allow this stillness, this relaxation to flow into your chest, relaxing the heart, relaxing the lungs. 9. Now bring your attention up and down your back, flowing, relaxing energy up and down your back, allowing every muscle to fully relax. Go to sleep. 10. Now your arms, your hands, fingers, and shoulders. Tell them all to relax. Go to sleep and relax. Now drawing your attention back to the breath, feeling the air enter the nose, moving down through the nasal cavity into the lungs. And as you exhale, coming through the lungs, back up into the nasal cavity and out the nose. Pay very close attention to this breath. Every breath, feel as though the breath itself has a message to convey, some deep eternal wisdom about the true nature of yourself. Feel as though with every inhale, throughout the full length of the inhale, the breath itself is uttering the words, I am. With every exhale, repeating the word, peace. I am peace. Just settle with this affirmation for a few minutes, repeating it with every breath. Again, feel as though the breath is speaking it to you. I am peace. The mind will come into play and distract you with random thoughts. It's totally fine. Don't feel any sense of irritation or anguish with the thoughts. Just recognize them and turn your attention back to the breath as though nothing ever happened. Now moving from the affirmation, we'll create a sense of expansiveness, expanding out of this body, out into the universe, out into the world, out into universal oneness with everybody and everything. Have no expectations on how far you'll go. This is, after all, just a practice. But with every breath, every inhale, feel yourself growing lighter and expanding. Maybe you're expanding upward and out of your body. And with the exhale, try to just maintain. The next inhale, expand a bit further. Whatever direction you're expanding, upward, side to side, all directions. Inhaling the feeling of lightness, rising upward and outward. As if your spirit's been released from a tight-fitting shoe. It can finally stretch to its full self. Upward and outward. Exhale, simply maintaining. For a few moments at the end of this meditation, we'll let go of all techniques, all methods. And you can feel as if you've been released and are falling backwards into a beautiful pink cloud, pure love, pure joy. And you don't need to think anything, you don't need to do anything, but simply let go. Let go into the pure expansiveness of the universe. Let go into perfect stillness. Like a good old friend, possibly your best friend. Stillness. Only with the best of friends that we can sit quietly and do absolutely nothing. Now sit in stillness for a few moments. Now, slowly and gradually, return down into our physical bodies. Taking a moment to show our bodies gratitude. We may not see them as perfect, but they're perfectly ours. For nothing is truly perfect in the universe, but the universe itself. So gratitude for your body. Don't re-enter with any sense of disdain or displeasure. Everything simply is what it is. As your mind returns and your thoughts return, don't reject it. Your mind that brought you here today. Do something positive for yourself. Show gratitude for your mind. Thank you, mind. Taking a few moments to better ourselves. Now, with every meditation, we are encouraged to preserve this sense of stillness for as long as possible. When it feels pertinent to move, move ever so slowly. When it feels pertinent to think, attempt to think slowly. You're welcome to maintain this state for as long as you can. Cradling this peace like a newborn baby. And as always, we will simply end the Zoom unceremoniously. Try not to feel a sense of cold disconnect. We're simply allowing you to flow through this natural state of stillness. Preserve it for as long as possible. Blessings to all of you, beautiful souls who joined us tonight. Have a wonderful evening and a beautiful holiday. Om Shanti Shanti.